Hey guys, hope you're doing well. We made it to the weekend, rock on. Anywho, we're on the back end of Friday here and just wanted to round it off nicely just by doing a video and just showing you guys my Steve Cab here. And so if you guys had watched my last video, my unboxing, you would have seen that this was one of the decks in there. And I traded off a couple decks, a new still in shrink Per Welinder Freestyle, the green one, as well as a new Steve Cab Bats and Bones. And so it looked very similar to the blue one here. And again, because I already had it, I thought I might as well let it go. And so I put them up for trades and just to see what anybody had. And some dude popped up with this. And so this board is really rad. It is early 90s. We'll get into the specs a little bit more here. But when you seen that I got it, I pointed out that it was gripped. It's no longer gripped. So anyways, managed to get it off. It came off super nice. So the way I go about doing it is actually just get a air blower and put some heat on it and then just pull it up nice and slow. And so just wait for it to get hot and then I just pull it up nice and slow. And if the grip's not that old, it comes up actually really good and doesn't leave like next to nothing as far as residue goes. And so for the extra little bits, I just use Goo Gone. You have to be careful around graphics and stuff like that. It could do some damage to them. But just for the little bit of residue that's left on the board, the Goo Gone works really well. I know some guys swear by WD-40 to get the extra residue off, but I've been using Goo Gone and it works amazingly well. And then what I'll do is just touch up the area that I used the Goo Gone just with a little bit of soap and water. Little amounts, like I dip the rag in the water, really squeegee it out, and then we'll use it just to clean up the areas. And it's yeah, anyways, it's nice. It's just all come off, so no residue at all. And so yeah, so this is the Powell-Peralta Bones Brigade Series 8. This one was released, and you can see here in 2016. And so this is a reissue of they call it the Caballero Biker Dragon. And so I've got a couple pages here I'm going to reference. So if you see me looking this direction, I've got my iPad here just set up that I'm grabbing a little bit of information from. And so yeah, this original graphic, Sean Cliver is the artist that did the graphic. And it was originally done in 1991. And that would have been about the time, yeah, that this board came out, 1991. And so we already see the difference, right? We're into the early 90s now, and so we're starting to see that double kick almost, right? The nose is quite a bit more kick to it than the mid 80s and definitely the early 80s where it's just straight flat. We're getting some good concave in there. And then another thing that was pretty popular was this double drilling for the front trucks. So that would give you optional placement for the trucks. You could either have them a little bit closer to the nose or a little bit further back to give you a little bit more nose. And so yeah, you can see the optional. It's easier to see there. But that's what that was for. Just give you a little bit option as far as a truck placement. With respect to the truck holes, just an FYI, if you are getting the Bones Brigade, all of the ones that I've seen anyways have been the old school truck hole patterns. And so if you're wanting to put new trucks on them, you can't just grab them and throw them on because it'll be the new hole patterns and they won't align properly. So what you'll have to do to mitigate any drilling at all is just buy the 6-hole, Indy 6-hole base plates and or find yourself some old trucks. And so these do have the old school hole patterns. Yeah, so again, make sure that you're buying the right trucks or get the Indies with the 6-hole base plate to ensure that they fit properly. Then that gives you the most flexibility. You can throw them on, you know, new or old school hole patterns. But anyways, yeah. So this board, again, it was gripped. It wasn't mounted at all, so it's in great shape. I got the grip off. There was a couple other marks that I managed to get off. There is a couple little scrapes and stuff on it, so it was probably like not sitting in a poly bag and just like lying on a floor lined with a bunch of other boards or something, but not a big deal. And this board is so limited, there was only 1,000 of them. And again, so we're looking at 2016, so we're already, you know, into the 5th year. So we just finished Series 12, and rumor has it they're not going to do a 13. At least they don't have any plans for another series anytime soon. And so, you know, if we're at Series 12, we have to go back, you know, at least 5 series into Series 8, right? And so this board is really hard to find. If you were to look for it, you're going to be hard pressed to get your hands on one of these guys. So it does make it really unique and pretty cool. So with this one, with the Bones Brigade series, they only come in the color wave that they come in. And so this is obviously the natural. I think back in the day when they actually ran these, there was a few different colorways that you could get them in. But with this one, they went with the natural. So let's dive into the specs a little bit here. All right, so we have, so yeah, this did come with a card, I think I mentioned, and I didn't get it. So what I'm gonna do is I'll put the card, so I searched forever to get information on this board. It was next to impossible to find anything, any images, anything on this board for whatever reason. And so I went to the bonesbrigade.com site. That's typically where I can find some stuff. I found the archive blogs, and they didn't have a breakdown of the board. It showed the independent boards, but it didn't show a breakdown. And then for whatever reason, just today I was looking again and managed to punch in maybe different keywords, but came up with a breakdown specifically for this board, which is awesome. And so now I have the accurate specs here. And yeah, so I'll just read through some of this stuff. So the actual deck shape on this one is 270. The deck concave is the K3B, so Kilo 3 Bravo. The deck wheelbase, there's two again, right? Because we're taking the inside measurements here. And because they have, it's been double drilled for the optional truck placement, we have 13.875 and we have the optional placement of 14.5. So the deck length is 31.6 inches. And then we get into the width of 9.55. So a little bit smaller than some of these other decks, right? Like when we look at some of the other cabs there, even the band this would be quite a bit wider than that. That'd be over 10. And so we're starting to see, you know, the bigger kick, the bigger nose, more concave and smaller width, right? Into the early 90s here. And so then the nose, again, because it's been double drilled, we have two options. We have the 6.73, so which would be the outside one, and then the 6.1 if we were to move our trucks a little bit closer to the nose. And then just for the tail, it's 6 inches. And so yeah, so those are the specs. These are screened to a heat transfer. So the original process was they would actually screen onto the deck. If you've watched some of my other videos, I've talked about this, but they would screen the different colors onto the deck one at a time. But now what they do is they screen to this heat transfer, and then they push it all on at one time. So it's just essentially like a heat transfer that just all goes on at once. And so a good way to tell if it's OG or not is if you can see the truck holes, then that's an indicator that it's OG. You can see here where some of the heat transfer is covering the holes. And so with a lot of the new releases, you can see even on that Bats and Bones back there, it doesn't look like there's any truck holes in it. And that's because the heat transfer goes right over the entire deck. And so with the OGs, again, because it was actually, you know, independent paint layers that they were putting on, you still see the holes. And so that's just a good indicator if you're wanting to know the difference between OG and reissue. All right, what else can I say about this? US, made in the US factory. There was only 1,000 of these guys made, so I'll put up the card in there. And I'll even just put a link over to this bonesbrigade.com page if you're interested in taking a look at that. Outside of that, guys, pretty rad deck. I probably, to be honest, I traded those other two to get something that, you know, had more potential trade value or sale value, and I feel like this is that, and so I don't know if I'm going to keep it or not. It is a rad deck, but we're starting to get into the early 90s. It would be similar to the Iron Gate that I have back there, but I don't know. I like the graphic. I think it's pretty cool, but I probably am going to move it. That's probably going to be the plan, to be honest. So anyways, there you go, guys. Powell-Peralta Bones Brigade Series 8, Steve Cab, Hope you guys enjoyed it. Cheers. Take care.